Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Happy Friday. All right. Just getting set up here. Got the little Twitch thing going. Okay. Oh, phone unplugged in. Helps out occasionally, especially if I need to do something with the local bandwidth here. There we go. And music. I did do some updates. I updated what was it I updated? I updated Rust Analyzer, some of the Vim plugins. Did not do anything since yesterday though. Yeah. Oh, I also updated Homebrew update. All right. Good. First thing though, I was interested in looking to see what's going to be in the next release of next release of Rust. Go to Rust. That one's not it. Rust Lang. There we go. If release is here, but that's for things that have gone past. Look on the commits. No. Source. I want to see the source. Or where to go? Oh, if you click on issues, and then on milestones, see what's coming up in 143. Or not. One four four. Doesn't seem like it. They didn't just release, did they? No, 142. Interesting. There's a place on here that has more interesting elements. Maybe it's under pull requests? Milestones? There we go. Okay, good. 143. Not under issues, it's under pull requests. Line improvements. Attributes on it. If expressions? Oh, wow. Ain't. Looking forward to these. Once it's completed. Huh. That's pretty neat. Yeah, we're gonna skip that one. There's one in here that I'm really looking forward to. Where'd it go? No? Statically allows self in all function contexts? What does this mean? Well, there's another one that I'm looking forward to that allows you to pass arrays into places that need iterator, or something that can be iterated over. I don't see that though. How's everyone doing today? Do I have... Okay, so this is where you can kind of find out what's coming up in Rust. If you look at the Rust GitHub pull requests, milestones. 4.3, I got everything buttoned up. 4.4. Oh. Oh, this is the one I want, I think. Yep, that's the one I want. 1.4.4. Too far away. Hash for infallible. Yeah, alright. Why this one? Falls into vector on a box slice. Huh. Ooh, interesting. Allows you to use that as... That's really nice. Cool, alright. TVOS as targets. That's neat. Alright, we're going back to the code. So, that's enough wandering around and what's coming up in Rust. Let's see. So the build finished. That's good. We're gonna check. Okay. Good. We were in Forge yesterday. Let's go back to Forge. Forge lib. And next, let's bring in C's. C's doesn't have that yet, because it's got a lot of other stuff going on. So was it C's that we were doing? Oh, you know what? Kind of. Yeah. I was gonna start to use like a inner module so that I could have like handlers. So I wouldn't have to worry about the name conflicts. Okay, we're gonna move most of this into handlers. I'll put them at the bottom too. We're gonna take that down there, paste it, mod handlers, save that. Good. This is everything from super. Oh yeah, forge error and form fields don't exist yet. Let's take a look at the form field stuff in a bit. But I think first, we're looking at these elements here, where we're creating a list. DC's list is create. Yeah, this one's kind of home, right? And then under home, should be a and then. Templates needs to come in from templates. Let's just create. I don't think I created those yet. I also need with templates. Okay. Got that little notification this morning that which is rewarding me for having two-factor authentication enabled. And I'm trying to remember, did I actually sign that up? Give me a moment. Ah, yes, apparently I did. I'm signing into an incognito window. Okay. Yep, so that all worked. Trust but verify. All right. Let's continue on our foray into this. C's list. This looks mostly all right. Okay, handlers under home. Or we just call it home. That's right, we got rid of the metric stuff, so we don't need that any longer. Can I get rid of this block of code? create, update. I don't really have delete on these. I think that's okay. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. Create, update. Just call it list for now. I was calling it home, but I think list is probably more appropriate. Sync function update, create, good, and these are going to redirect. We do some multi-part stuff, redirect, etc. All right, here's read. No more metrics, and we need the database pool. Oh, and forge error. Let's get some of these kind of leaf node things, leaf errors. First, interesting that C get passed in because it wasn't getting the metrics from the argument, was it? Oh, this is really old code. This is really old code. Okay, we don't even need to pass in the database stuff because it's coming in off the database itself. Yeah, we need all this a little bit more generic. Ooh, well, that's going to be interesting. That's right, because this shouldn't look like this. This should look like db dot or database, whatever it is. This dot db dot c. Oh wait, get. I think it's supposed to look more like this. Self, whatever it is. And the metrics can go away. All right. Hey, morning, Eugene. Right now, I have a bit of code that was written against Actix Web, and I am converting it over to use Warp. I was suggesting that people at work actually use Warp, and I wanted to get good at it. So, trying to stay ahead of the curve there. So I thought I'd convert this over from Actix. Also, Actix, I don't know, it's just harder to use, I think. Too bad. Morning. Funny. Okay, some of the other sort of leaf node things in here. Forge error needs to be available. It's not right now. Goodness, this isn't even using Donald Olney's fabulous library. Should convert that. So this one's actually pretty cool. Let's go through this real quick. I'm going to git move this. Forge old source. Come on. Oh, my autocomplete wasn't working because there's also something else. Yeah. Forge source. Yeah, let's close that. Oh, we have forge error over here. All right. Now, Donald Tolnay has anyhow. Oops. How? Fabulous library for error stuff. You would use this in a binary. Okay. Really, really nice to use. This guy has some cool stuff. However, if you're not in a binary, use this error. It's kind of the library counterpart of that. So we're going to convert what we already have in there to using this error. And you'll see it because here, when I was doing everything myself for this error just takes away all of this boilerplate. It'll be much, much, much shorter. Kind of a neat conversion, I'll show you. Okay. Okay, so we have this error available now, supposedly. Oh, this error. Okay. That takes care of a number of things for us already. Now, we want DB error. Just say this comes from that. We also decorate this with our error string. Just toss it on there for a couple of them. There we go. Actix web error. Yeah, it's not going to happen. We're going out of that. Now, 75209, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Now we take this, go all the way to the bottom, and click delete. This is a much better way of doing it. Let's go ahead and get rid of this stuff here. See, multiplier error, I wonder how that's going to work for this. No. So that's how you end up using this error. Automatically implements all of those froms. So you can go from like response error into this error. Excuse me. Yeah, full response error for that, etc. But mostly these elements down here. So you get rid of all that boilerplate. Oh, look at that. We got color coding or color in the preview window. That's awesome. Pulling that module. Copy that. Over to C's. How to get highlighting in there? That's a really good question. I updated a ton of stuff last night. Is that the latest version of FCF Vim? Yeah, I did update last night. It looks cool. Looks really nice. Morning. Aod 9. How do you pronounce this? Is it Aod 9? Well, also FCF is different than FCF.vim. Two different plugins for Vim. All right, so we're going to register some paths. Let's just do C's. Something like that. Oh, you got both. Okay. Wow. I did this last night. I don't know if it was a timing thing. Maybe you missed it just by a release. I don't have UUID. Cargo UUID. Using a very specific setup for this. Oh, look at that. Don't even have to open it. Copy that. Be the same for each of these. Okay. Okay. Getting rid of these elements. This goes away. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Should probably pull in form fields as well. Hit move, forge old. Let's pull that in. DB identifiable. Interesting. What is that even used for? My goodness, what did I do in here? This is some of my earlier stuff. Temp file, yeah, we also need temp file. Make sure we're not using any funky version of temp file. Oh, it's just temp file. Okay. So we need bytes. We're going to get rid of actics there. Go away. It's the colors, right? You don't see the colors? I was super surprised to actually see the colors in here. Because yesterday I didn't. And last night, maybe, I don't know, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I updated it. That I also restarted Vim. I don't know if that helped. I think it's just bytes. Okay. Oh, and futures. Yes. Yeah, we're doing something a little special there. I use the same version so that I get the shorter build time. What am I looking for here? Oh, Forge. Forge cargo. Perfect. Now for database. Have you tried rebooting? Kidding. Windows joke there. I love that in what was it, the IT crowd? Over here, these guys, IT crowd. That was one of my favorite like running gags in there. Did you reboot? I love that. It's great. All right, let's also forge cargo. Dependencies EB. Yeah. And that'll probably satisfy that in a moment. Guessing its build is blocked by that. Okay, good. Where did that even come from? I'll process. Oh, it's probably from Actix then. Okay. Perfect. We've pulled in a bit more code, cleaned up some of the imports. And increase the number of errors. Perfect. 86. I've seen worse. Oh, the other day I got like a 4-page Rust error. It was awesome. It was a giant wall of text. One of those errors where Rust couldn't figure out a nice way to tell me what was going on, so just like, hey, here's all the info. Good luck. Had to do with oh, what was it? It was silly, but I think it was because it was some sort of return. There was like a lifetime issue combined with something else. It was like, I don't know. I give up. Here you go. Oh, so much better than like boost errors. My goodness. Okay. Let's go back into C's. See where this takes us. Paths not pulled in here. And this is coming from DB. C values. Actually, I'm not sure. Where is that in DB? Let's go look. DB, C. Yeah. There it is. Oh, it's private. Use pub super on those. Why isn't this one async? We'll have to fix these so that they are the type that Warp wants. Alright. Okay, URL isn't even in here. So I think we're going to be doing that differently. Okay. Call that list. We use CRUD of naming for the APIs. Oh, for post put elements gets if I actually create that. Read though. It seems like there should be two different ones. One for like the portion that renders the HTML, and the other for the portion that does API stuff. You have 5,279 unresolved symbols. Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's start to push the database elements down further. We're going to need to have something like this, and with database, with DB, something like that. Let's go figure that out. Orglib. Yeah. I don't even remember how to create one of those database elements. Let's look in server main. I usually end up using them, but not creating them. I think I have to do something where I create a pool of them or something. Get the database URL. It's like that. Okay. What does this do? Sure. Do that in Forge main. Before we get everything set up. There we go. Pool size. This does not need a pool size of 8, maybe 2. This is like a really low traffic, low touch API, like a web UI here. So I have that. What is Watcher? Oh, that's in case our templates change. Right, okay. Initera, wrap that up. This is still part of the Watcher stuff. I'm going to do the database stuff down here. Move that down. So far removed from where it was going to be used. This listen address can be down here with the serve stuff. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Not perfect. Fewer changes. There's database. And we're going to make this a little generic. Copy that into a buffer, to a, what do they call that, a register. Okay. Does the OS send any messages for that? It depends on the OS. So FreeBSD is different from the other ones, which is why you'll see some of the events, I mean, some of the subsystems are able to do this more readily. There's a, what was it? I think you can just listen on a file handle and the OS will just notify you. It's just built into the kernel now for Linux and think OS X, OS 10. Windows has it as well. I'm trying to remember specifically if on folders, like paths, how that event bubbling works. If you have to just listen out on every file below there or each directory to get the notifications, or if you can do it just on like a parent directory. That might actually depend on the OS. I guess the short answer is yes, the OSs support that some ways, but if you look at say what package was I using for that? I didn't want to write that here. Using Watcher. This is coming out of Notify. So if we look at Notify, a little package. Two verbose, a hot watch. Oh yeah, here you go. On Linux and Android, this is iNotify, OS 10, file system events, Windows, directory changes, and polling. So they're all different. And I'm doing pretty well today. I haven't left you in the browser yet. Yeah, if you're trying to make it cross-platform, that's definitely a pull it off the shelf sort of library. Let's go back. Let me close that buffer. Register paths, that's fine. Bless you. Oh, here it is. Statics or home. And this needs it. There it is. All right. Or oh wow, it actually auto-completed that for me. Yes, do that again. That was neat. Or C's. Huh. Yeah, let's go fix home. Home also needs to be B. That's not the right one, that's home. Home. Sorry, I got lost there for a moment. Technically, home doesn't need it. I'm just gonna pipe through because eventually we might need it. Go to C's. Here it is. All right. Go to create. Good, that's fine. I think I got this slightly wrong here. So if we look at home, set that up this way. Okay. I think the other one I actually need a couple more functions to wrap what's going to be needed for these. So here we have C's. Then we have C's list. But for create, we need one of these for basically non-API stuff. We need this. Actually, we need it for API stuff as well. That's going to be why. Get rid of these here. So here we'll be calling create, update, and read, and those we'll call the handler elements. Toss a couple of those in there and we'll change them. So have C's list, fine. Create. Update and read. Add the database here. Not that one. What's next? These elements. A little bit of boilerplate there. Not too bad. Oh, yes, those should be DB database. Oh, no, those should just be DB. Got that wrong. All right, so we have list. Now for create. Create is going to be different than new. So we basically have what? List, new, edit, and show. These are not the CRUD ones. These are like the ones that return HTML, which would be the first 4 here. And the elements that get post and put going to be these. Read here, I think it's going to basically be show. Probably get rid of that one for now. Okay, that looks about right. Except, argument list is not giving it the right number of elements. Okay, let's go create the with database. All right, that's fine there. Just gonna preemptively turn off a bunch of the Wi-Fi stuff here. We don't have the fastest uplink or downlink. Oh, it's fast enough for streaming, actually streaming text. I should probably quantify that. Oh, that's funny. No, I don't want to install updates now. No, not doing that. Thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. Let's toss with DB on some of these. Just go through, toss kind of the boilerplate on there, and then we'll start to clean them up. They all need database stuff. Okay. So first one, CList. This is for the top level C's element. This is great. We have C's. So it could be C or C's. Okay, so get request, templates and database, fine. And for this we call list. There's list. Hope it goes in this direction. DB. Stop it. $sign. Not 5. There we go. Okay. Now doing metrics here. Goes away. Template. Good. Start to pull that in. Now, how did we do this in home? Home is like a super simple version of all of this. You'll notice response type infallible with a reply. I wonder if that's common. The infallible thing I want to double check on. Not Wireshark browser. Power warp is inside of here. What is he doing? Hey, morning. Cyber art. Yeah, we're making a game server and a game client. So the game server is actually written in Rust. The game server is in Rust, and the game client is built using Godot. And at this very moment, we're working on the administration portal for the game server because you can modify things in the game server as it's running. So the game server deals a lot with, dynamically generating the universe. So if you wanted to add new biomes to it, you would do that using the admin portal. Routing. So here they're mapping it just to that. Yada yada. Yeah, not too helpful. How do we do rejections? Error, it's rejection. I see even here. No rejection. Yeah, because you always return something with these. Okay, I guess that's just it. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, you're welcome. And if you're new to Rust or just new to coding, let us know if you have questions. Alright, so infallible does seem to be the correct way to go about that. Context, this stuff. I'm just gonna move this over so I can see it side by side. Let's call this list. Sync function list. The template is going to be C's. Generics on this. Get rid of list. Anything else I need in there? Metric center, no. Say our context is going to be interesting. This one's actually going to need to be different. So we were using this template. And we give it a vector of C's. So this is how you would do this with Actix, which is what we're currently converting away from. Now, here they have a different type of context. Context is what the template has access to. So if I wanted a list inside of our context, let's say, first time I'm actually doing this, by the way, for context. So what does context have? Is that not in scope? Oh. Use Terra context. That's coming from Terra. There we go. If we look at its source, they have some examples. We can insert stuff into context. Insert number. You can extend other context. Get elements from it. Okay. Neat. Go back. Where were we? Converting this. Where's our list? How much has changed? I can't use the gutter. Normally I highly reliant upon the gutter to know where the changes are. We're on line 211, okay. Put a marker there. We call this C's in order to match the previous one. And that needs a vector of C's. Interesting. But where do we get that? From DB, of course. DB dot, oh goodness. C dot await. Does that return? Oh, little fuzzy on the API here. Let's go look what C returns. Async C, we have to wait for the database pool. Why, that's asynchronous. And it might return a DB error, I see. We're just going to unwrap that for now. And probably forever. So once we have a C, it's going to return a DBC. DBC. 3 letters. DBC. Okay, and if we go to DBC, get all, that's what we want. I'll toss a little, can we do a question mark on there? Because if that blows up, we actually need to do something different, don't we? I wonder how we would map that into a reply. So if that fails, I'd like to just convert it into some sort of error. Okay. Let error. Give me one moment, talking to my daughter. Turns out we have an escapee. One of our chickens is missing. Well, I guess our, yeah. Bye-bye. All right. All right. Not saying bye to all y'all, just she's leaving the room. All right, so if let error get all, and we await that. So in this case, if we do get an error here, we're going to turn okay. Apparently that's what we do. So let's pull in warp, apply. No. Where is it? Ah, I set a marker earlier. Good. That's helpful. It's just to reply with status. There we go. So if we get a database error there, we're going to log it and then just return that. All right. My wife's up. She just sent me a message that says, it's a quote off probably some social networking site, but it says, I told my wife how thankful I was to have someone I enjoyed being quarantined with. She said, must be nice. Oh. All right, where's status code come from? Let's get that off of home. Oh, STATUS. There we go. Because we're sending it to the value there. Actually, this isn't the right way to do this. You have to use a map here instead. Or a match, pardon me. Match that. We're going to log it. There we go. Log that, return using that, and then for OK, that's better. That will work. Add the C's there. Now C's has something that I can use. Infallible from standard. Pull the standard stuff out of there. It gets its own section. Okay, back to our marker. And that's it for that. That wasn't too bad. Okay, it also means we can get rid of this. Get URL for C. Yeah. This here needs to go into the register URLs. So basically, I want to register different functions to be able to handle generating URLs for the templates. I want a single C's URL. Build that. Oh, for a C. Well, what happened? Oh, it just formatted. Fine. Oh, that's right. These are args. Okay. There's one of those there. And inside of here, we need to get something out of the arguments. Now, this set of arguments here is going to be, goodness, what is that? That's the hash map. That's right. But there's a little bit we have to do to get some information out of it, though. Where was it? Not in there. Is it in home? Forge lib? Something you actually had to do in order to get that out of there. What was it? Look. Where's Terra? Terra. Here. This. So basically, you're going to be getting something that is args. Get something out of the args. Is there going to be something or nothing? We should probably just be. Yeah, we're basically going to be doing exactly this. Jeez. I wonder what I can return from here. In this case, they return a string. In this case, I'm going to look for the CID. It's actually going to be a UUID. Do I really care that it's a string or not? No, I can live with that as a string. But I guess if I want to validate that it's a proper UUID, I should probably do that does serialize. At this point, we generate a string. I don't know if this is actually going to be right. This is going to need a little bit of finessing later. C slash, and whatever the ID is. Now let's get rid of oops. Oops, don't really care for. So in this case, what is the error? The error is that we couldn't convert it from a valid UUID. In this case, oops is you must pass a CID. No, ID not found. Yeah. So there's so much more code in here. I'm giving those the fully qualified paths. There we go. Okay, what is next? Create. Ooh, this one's gonna be a little tricky. What's our error count? Cargo watch. Oh, 64, we've gone down. Or up. No, down. We're like down 20. Metric sender goes away. Oh, the form fields. That one. Alright, how does warp do that with form fields? That I don't know. Let's go look. Warp. Oops, OBS. Come along, OBS. There we go. Projections, that's where we were. File. Where's our multi-part stuff? Okay, let's go back to warp. Documentation. Actually, let's go to crates. I want to make sure that There isn't like a separate thing for multi-part. I think it's in the filters for multi-part stuff. Oh, there it is. All right, let's go to the documentation then for that. That seems neat. How do we use it? Form options? What is form options? Oh, max length, that's handy. Falls to 2 megs, that's good to know. I'm uploading images and game assets. Generally, we want them small, but hard. Form options and form data. Multi-part form data. So that just creates a filter. I get it. Transform options and form options. Does that implement something? Form options is a filter. How is that a filter? I don't see filter in here. They didn't impl filter. Filter base. Now, was that actually filter base? That's different than what I'm used to seeing. Normally I just see filter. Just filter base. Just filter. Okay, where's filter? Filter base, filter. Stream. I didn't see any of this stuff in the documentation. There's no filter base here on the left. Or stream. Oh, was that on form options? Maybe I was on the wrong one. No, filter base on form options. Strange. And form data is streamed. Okay. Let's see how we can use this. Let's go back to their examples. Where's it here? Multi-part. Oh, no, that's just their source code. That's not the examples. That's unfortunate. Headers, features, file. I'm not seeing anything for that. All right. Let's just rely on the documentation of the source code then. So when we have create, actually I want to do this slightly different. I'm going to start to comment some of this out. Bring it in as it's cleaned up. No update yet. No create yet. Let's move that. Just a list at the moment. Procedural languages are better for game dev. Good morning, Lagmeister 4000. I think that most games that actually make it out there, it's not dependent on the language. I think it's really dependent on the developer's focus on telling a story. Because I think a lot of developers get stuck in. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I think a lot of developers get stuck in building the perfect thing instead of building a game. Games aren't perfect; they're huge usually. Like there's a lot of effort, and if there's only a few or a single developer, they really have to focus on actually making a game and not really making a system. Kind of like a tangential answer. There's probably a ton of games out there that never get released because, well, they get stuck building process. We need list. This one comes back out. Games are often an art. There's a story sometimes, a challenge. Some are meant to kind of evoke emotion. Some are meant to do other things. Some are just toys, right? Like Line Rider. It's a great example of just a toy. It's just something that's fun. A toy. You get into like things like Borderlands. That's a story. You're in the story. You're in the movie. Get invested. Quake is different, and that's kind of like Quake Arena is what I'm thinking of. Kind of like paintball or like some other sort of team game, solo kind of patent game. Depends on what you want as to the tools that you need to pick up. I couldn't see doing like, goodness, Quake Arena using like Lua and stuff like that. It just wouldn't be fast enough for what they need. Okay, those are under 20. Where's the errors now? Forge error, yes. What are these elements? Multipart's gonna be gone. I don't even think this is gonna be used anymore. Form fields. Yeah, this whole file, a lot of this file, I'm just going to comment out for a moment. I'm not sure we're going to need it. Let's see. 5 errors. That goes away, we handled that. You're not really into the idea of the borrow checker? You know what? I think with the borrow checker, it's solving a problem that with other languages in large projects, you have to solve this eventually. All the borrow checker does is ensure that there's an owner. Right? It's making sure that there's an owner and that you don't have somebody reading from data when there's somebody else that wants to write to data or mutate it. So to me, it's like I'm just paying for it up front. I've actually built game servers where we had to solve some of those really odd bugs late in the game. It was painful because we had built an architecture around it. Ah, okay. These are good arrows. And a ton of warnings. Fine. With status takes 2 things. Yes, it does. So if there's an error here, what should I be returning? Most of the time it's because you make the ownership too complicated. Oh, interesting. Could just be some managed array somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I think for us, at one point it was garbage collection issues because we had a really long kind of cycle. We were creating islands that weren't getting collected. It was too complicated. Must be a string literal. There we go. Oh, and what is this one? Expected reference. Sure, you can have a reference. Oh, serialize is not satisfied? Proceeds? Oh, no way. All of these things have to be serializable? That's unexpected. Now, one of the other times, we actually had a bug that was caused by, it had to do with, on the architecture, when you were writing a number, it wasn't atomic when you were writing into this piece of memory because of the size of the number. And it meant that you could have like the top half of the number be written by one thread, and the bottom part of the number being written by the other thread, so you'd end up with some just really, really weird number. We didn't have locking around it. That was a weird bug. And you can't do that in Rust. It's just not something it's possible. Sounds horrible to debug, yes. Takes months because it doesn't happen all the time. And you just slowly start to log things closer and closer and closer to it. And on this side or that side. So if we go look at, this is going to be in models. It's going to be here, serializable. Hmm. Let me see that error again. Serialize not implemented for it. I'll bet if we add serialize, the next thing it's going to want is deserialize. Why does it want it serializable? Why? Can Terra use lists? We must be able to iterate over things with Terra. Go to the top. Basics. Data structures. Control structures. Oh, I like that they do first and last. That's really nice. Okay, well, let's toss serialize on there. Does DB source models DB can have Saturday? No. Which one do we want to use? Probably the one from messages. Just that one. Hey, Legmister 4000, thank you for the follow. It's just serialize. And we want to go to, oh, an outline. C see. Oh, unused import. Okay, and down here, it can't find it. That can't be true. Try again. That must be the way to do it. No? Serialize? Yeah. Name the same. Oh. I'm in the wrong place there. So I didn't wire up Saturday for it. Did that file get saved? Must have. DB cargo. No Saturday. Good. Could be all that's needed there. CDDB. Is that available? Cannot find serialize in SCR. Strange. Okay, let's try just at the top level then. Let's go back to Forge. Oh, it's not mutable. Quick fix that. Tab w.clone www.clone save. Multivem to the rescue. Right, that should build. We should be able to run it. Pour some tea. Doing that. Mint green tea today. And it's snowing. There we go. Oh, let's try running it. Alright, let's go home. Oh, entities does not exist. Yes. That's right. Go back to the code. Template. We're not going to recompile anything. Just going to comment some stuff out. Actually, how do you comment stuff out with Para? Let's do that. Browser. Para. Okay. See if we can use that then. I wonder how well it nests. Oh wow. I reloaded it. Hey. Okay. There we go. I actually hit refresh in the browser. We have this. See? Oh, it didn't find C's.html. Oh, that's right, because it has a fix me on it. Rename. Oh. Say G rename to C's.html. Okay. Ah, look. Left in the browser. Apologies. What's it actually complaining about here? Actually, why isn't that showing up in the browser? I would much rather have this show up out here. Instead of having to monitor 3 places, like here, try to parse this here. Get URL. Yeah, that's it. Should be URL for, we say, name, no, path equals C, ID equals C.ID. Close paren. Sorry. Path argument is required. New C does not exist. Oh, cool. And where do we do that? Here, new C. So when we register URLs in there, do that, and then do we want it C underscore new? New NUW. Do we want it some other way? Well, we'll just leave it that way. That's fine. Yep. Rebuild it, run it. All right, that's working. Let's go to the browser. Reload. Oh, it's actually showing the Cs. Was not expect it iterated over those. Look at that. I was not expecting that. Okay, here they are. Wow. Oh, that's cool. All right. And let's go back. Here, if we hover, C slash whatever at the bottom. Cool. It actually did that. That's neat. Okay, let's go back to the code. Make that work. I'd much rather go through and comment a bunch of code out that's not working and get little pieces working at a time, just little tiny bits of progress. For me, motivation-wise, it kind of helps. This doesn't feel like I'm battling like 82 errors all at once. Okay. Which one are we doing? Show. What is show? List, show. Pull that out of there. Now this one's going to be a little different. It's going to be C. And let's look at the documentation on that macro. Convenient way to change multiple things together. Want to see more. There we go. Oh, I see. So we'd have to do that, that, and that if we weren't using macro. Cool. Well, let's do that. Slash. Can I just say UUID? What's a type there? Expected to take 3 arguments, but it takes 2. Oh, UUID is supposed to be first. Lovely, okay. Oh, did I put this on the wrong thing? What's this show? Show. That just doesn't exist. Handlers show. There's our handlers. There's list. Create. Update. New. A lot of creates in here. Read. I think this is the one that was actually show. Maybe we just call it edit. I do like edit better. There we go. this is going to want C in the context. Okay. This needs to be made a little bit more generic. What kind of gets me here is I can't use the try operator, the infallible side. I have to return positive case. So what's a different way of actually doing this that might be a little bit more reusable? Good map error, get to all. On result, how do you take an error and convert it into an OK? Map. Yep. Map or. What do we want here? We don't want transpose. Maybe a map or else. Unpack is successful. Okay. Looks like map or else is going to be the way to go. If we don't have a C, I don't know, I like them being separate. If we do a map, then we can actually do stuff with this down here. All right, here, let's just try it. Remove the match. Let's just go into, we're going to be returning something from this. Actually, that one works. Let's play with this in the next one. Down here. Okay, all that goes away. We need our return type. This is going to be ID. Oh, it's so beautiful. I would much rather that be something. Whatever. This was edit, wasn't it? C underscore edit. Go back to the browser. That should compile. Oh yeah, here. Reload. Oh, come on, start up. Oh, there was an error. C edit. Extending from C, which doesn't exist. C.html.fixme. Oh, yes, look at that. Rename that to c.html. Run it again. The browser. And reload. Oh. View image. Because it contains errors? I doubt that. Regardless, not working on that at the moment. Okay, so that works. However, the pattern that's emerging is not awesome. Spoilerplate here, not great. And we could probably improve this. So this here we could extract into something that would be useful. Let's make some function. Org lib. Function map db error. Oh, we don't need that. We want the same return type here. Status code. I'll put you in there. Okay. So if we have that, this also enforces the return type. It's no longer a DB error return type. It's infallible. Come back here. You know what? Let's just call it DB error. No. Yes. App or else. Actually, how do we convert it to infallible? Can we just run into on that? Let's look at that again. Oh, 2 FM ones, okay. The first one, E. Second one, T. Yeah, that's why it didn't format. There's a comma there, get rid of that. Expected to pick type, found struct. Why is that? Oh, I see. Because this isn't boxed? This is also returning a with status. Okay, how is that different from this up here? In one case, we return early. And then eventually we return same setup. Hmm. I'm wondering if this is because somehow the map or else is actually changing the type and stripping out the impl. Well, we could put this in a function as well. Doesn't even need to be a closure, technically. Oh, it does need to be a closure, doesn't it? Hmm. See, I thought with status was a reply. Let's check that. Great implementations. Reply. Okay. What about the other one? That's not going to work, obviously, but let's see the error change. Yeah. So it did find something that was in full reply. Little trick to get Rust to kind of show you some of its type information. You assign it to a local variable that has a type. It could be a unit, it could be a string, it could be whatever. I usually use unit. It's easy to type. You might need to toss unimplemented down there so you don't get the return errors. It helps. Oh, you're still in the browser? No. Okay. Man. Here it is. So, in this case, the return types are mismatched. Here we had with status instead of reply, full reply. Now, if we come back down, you can see that it's saying, well, unit isn't this thing that I'm returning. And you can see that actually reply here and infallible. So what's coming back from this at this moment is correct. Just as it returns it further up, something was going wrong. But if we did that and just returned result, should get the same error we had before. Yes. I'm not sure why, because as we saw just a moment ago, two types were actually correct. So it's saying this is what it's expecting. It's saying that. Or rather, this is what we have in the code, and this is what. How do I express that? Oh, you're going to try this error. This error is awesome. I really like it. This just a moment ago. I don't have anything else. Oops, do it again. So first it's telling me that expected struct with status found a pig type. Oh, I didn't see this earlier. Let's see, so what do we have here? With status, found the opaque type. This is in Forge lib. Okay. Why is this expecting with status instead of that? We could give it with status, that's fine. Let's see, give me some more type info though. Do I actually keep your errors in a different file? I do. I usually call it like foo_error something. That's usually what the struct ends up looking like. It's like db errors, right? And so I just keep it in a file that's db_errors or db error singular. If we look at any of my error files, yeah, and sometimes this is actually pretty common. Sometimes I'll do like the struct name_error, but then I got tired of the repetition because it's forge error. So I do just spiner error. So here, the spiner error is just in a file called error. But I never call it error. I don't create my own result type. I don't like to kind of shadow the names of things in the standard library. It just confuses me. And future me would hate current me if I did that. All right, we were checking on that. As fn1s. Huh. Okay. That seems okay. Let's remove this. Oh, distinct uses of infiltrate results in different opaque types. Ah, today I learned. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, where are they coming from? One is coming from impl reply. The other one's coming from so to use start error and request error, do I have to use from? Yes. So if we look at, I don't have message errors, do I? But I do have db error. The spiner error. Gonna be something like that. And actually, they've got some great documentation as well. Where are we? This error. So even stuff like this, and expected blah, found blah, and you can refer to the named parts of the enumeration. If your error has it, like the enumeration that you're using, all sorts of things. And if you have multiple elements, you can refer to them as 0, 1, and 2, etc. in your error message. A really neat API. It's fairly complete. Personally, I'd love to see this in like standard lib. It's just so useful. Let's see, where's the little usage numbers? Downloads of the last 90 days. Oh, if you don't want to have your own message for it, just make it empty. Here, I think they do that. So yeah, if you want to generate a display, you have to do that though. I've found it helpful in the past just to know that I'm actually that it's an error that I wrapped. So in this case, you might say it's a data store error, and you could say like data store : or something at the beginning. Just depends on what you want to show. Because in some of my code, I had like old code and new code, and I wanted everything to be converted. So it was helpful to see that the elements were actually changed. But I mean, quite frankly, you could just do this. That's fine too. So in this case, this here is an elapsed error from Tokyo, and it would just render it straight through. Yeah, you could. Yeah. And in some cases, it'll be useful. In other cases, it won't. But all this does is implement display for that node. I don't have this error. That's not going to jump into it. But I think they talk about that in here. So display impl is generated if you provide that. If you don't need display for error messages because you only use debug on them, then you don't need that. Error number, that's oh, I'm sorry. I meant to show this. But here, there's this. Error number is one of my elements here. Game types. I was trying to come, this is a very early thing actually. And I was trying to come up with some mechanism to be able to express a common set of like errors between the server and the client, success, etc., etc. But I'm actually slowly working away from that. And in this case, I am using serialized representation and deserialized representation, and it's represented as a U8. So that just gets serialized down to numbers. It works pretty well. Actually, it works perfectly. How do you return this error in a function? Oh, good question. So, let's go to Spiner. Any one of these. for example, in here, right? In this function, we're getting an island, right? Spiner's the database wrapper. We're getting an island from the database. I want it to return actually multiple things in this case because an island is really represented by the island, its lands, and its seas. However, if there is a database error, it's possible that there would be, or if there's some other kind of error in here, you would just decide to use your error here. And then if let's pretend that the first one returned error number for whatever reason. And here, using the try operator, it will do an into automatically for you and return your type here. Now, this could return something that's not an error. Maybe this is a DB error, and that would also get converted to Spiner error using the try operator. And then at the bottom, well, just use your OK or pass through. Now, one of the situations where this doesn't quite work is if you're doing a map into, let's say, we find one, map error, try to find a Spiner one. Yeah, there's a good one. So this one's actually still in Spiner, still getting information about islands. But this island, we just want to know its size. Now, because we do have a little try operator here in case we couldn't get a handle to a database connection from the DB pool. That'll handle that and become a Spiner error. However, because we're just going to return the result here, the error needs to be converted into. And because I'm not using a try operator here and using a local variable, and then wrapping that in an OK, I instead just do map error into. And that'll do the conversion on the error into Spiner error if there happened to be one. So if the other way to do this, which I try to avoid, let size equals this, and I would just toss that on there and then return OK size. Okay, these are equivalent. Yeah, first one does look a lot cleaner. And the map error into. It's simple. You don't have to remember the types. You're calling the into function on the into trait for whatever's there. And it'll even give you decent error messages if you didn't if you didn't include that kind of error in my case, Spiner error. Close that. This here. Oh yes, and it's telling me where the two different impulses of this are. HTML, reply. You're welcome. Very welcome. And yeah, and I really don't mind the questions like that. I actually encourage them, so don't hold back. What is it they say? The best way to learn something is to teach it. Oh, help me learn it. Part of the reason I'm doing this is to learn Rust. Okay. So one of them is on ForgeLib. Now let's get rid of that. Let's give that a concrete type. Feynman technique. Actually, I'm not familiar with that. Is that what that came from? I don't learn anything quickly. Oh, interesting. Alright, let's go back into lib, forge lib. It's going to tell me what the type is for that. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that was associated. That's cool. Huh. Map or else. See, it's wanting me to use the same impl, but then it's telling me that I can't use the same impl. This only worked before because, well, this was in the same space. With status. I don't know. Just gonna give it a string or something. What does with status actually take? Let's look. Status T, reply is T. Interesting. I'd much rather have the concrete type here. Expected opaque type, found string. Okay. I mean, this is my type. I was really hoping that it would show something else there. Because ideally, I'm trying to map the types here. Ah. Why did that work before? Why does this work for this function? It's because there's only one return impl. Okay. That's a bummer. I was really hoping that I could do that. Doesn't seem to be working if I give it a more concrete type there. Hmm. It's saying that one of the types is here. Maybe I don't do this until the very end. What if, instead of that, we just returned the body and status? I like what this is doing here. Move that out. did copy paste that. Found unit type. What? Oh, because we have a semicolon there. All right, got it. Okay, so in this case, we only call with status and reply once. Seems as though there should be something that represents this. I wonder if Warp has something for that. Look, structs. Replies a type that can be converted into an HTTP response. One error you're trying to use is private. Oh, sometimes they will do that where the error you get back is at the wrong spot. So let's see, it's one of them. Or it's just exported in a different location than where you would expect. So it's private internally, but they export it or expose it much higher in their crate. And the Rust compiler will still give you kind of where it actually lives instead of where it was exported from. So sometimes we go to like minor errors still. Like this elapsed here isn't actually there. Okay, maybe it is, but you get the point. Like it could actually be exported from someplace deeper inside. So check the docs, see where it's actually exported. Try to use that. Okay, so that'll work like that. I like that pattern a little better. And then if we take this back, put this in the front, get rid of that. I almost want to just make something that has this. I can see over and over and over again, I'm going to have body and a status. Oh, that's right. Let's just make sure. Type definitions. Guess we could just return the response instead. Hey, a barrage. How's it going? We're currently working on the management pages for the game server. So, for anybody that's new, I'm building a procedurally generated kind of game world It's a multiplayer game server, and that's written in Rust with a game client using Godot. They communicate over TCP, and this server should be able to handle thousands or tens of thousands of concurrent players. The idea is that the game itself is that the universe is made up of islands, and you can basically sail from island to island. And the islands are procedurally generated, and that currently works. Most of the game is just dev art currently. But right now we're working on the ability to create new biomes and seas and lands that the game will use to choose from to procedurally generate the rest of the world. So at the moment, working on the Seas API. In fact, I think the whole thing actually works right now. Vim is my favorite IDE. And look at this, it's got fantastic fantastic IDE support for different elements. Let's say Rust. It's got inline help, documentation for Rust. You can jump to the implementation of elements straight away. Got errors there, warnings. And with the outlines of functions, you can jump to any type in the workspace. We've been looking at spiner error. Let's jump to that. It's fantastic. Vim is awesome. I'm sure other editors are awesome as well. To each their own. Vim and I have had a long relationship. Oh, you make your... I have taught my kids Vim as well, and I highly suggest using Vim Adventures. I'm not affiliated in any way. In fact, I've paid them money so that I can go all the way through this. I actually use that myself. Having used Vim for like 20 years, I've found new stuff that I didn't know in there. Vim is great. Okay, let's run the game. Dev run. Stack traces. Wonderful. Why did it die? Okay, path not found. Oh, and Forge. Yeah, I don't care about Forge right now. Keep going. Use the free version to learn Vim. It's great. Yeah, and the free version gets you through all of like the basic controls in Vim. It's really nice. Okay, so we're gonna do that. I need to start up Godot. Do that. Oh, Godot's already there. Let's set up the client. There we go. We're gonna log in. This is all dev art, of course. There's no point in I guess making something pretty before you have it working right. Because who knows? Maybe it's not islands in the future. Maybe it's gonna be something else. What was the StarCraft was like orcs in space when it began? Captain Barrage. I just created a new actor or character. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's go fix something real quick. That's because I'm running that in the wrong location. What this error is, it's because it couldn't find the information. Rust Godot Vim. Yeah. I like to lean on open source stuff and stuff that's been around a while. I'm also a big FreeBSD fan. FreeBSD or Dragonfly BSD. Oh my goodness. let's go fix that error. So this is error line 43.5. Oh, 30, was it 34? 34, I got that backwards. Yes, and in this case, the templates directory is actually different because I'm running this from a different directory. Let's fix that. Forge templates, I think that's it. Shut it down, start it again. There it goes, there's Forge, Forge is listening. Let's try the game server, the game again. Hey, oh, he got a jungle island. So this is all randomly generated. I've decided that eventually I want to bring the noise generation algorithm also into the clients so that I can actually get a textured world. Oh, and you've got a little inlet here. Looks kind of cool. So this works, and so he hasn't been off his island yet. He's going to go for a swim. He's going to swim to the big island. And once you go around in the world, the first island that you go to, you get your own island when you enter the game. And the first island that you ever go to, no matter which direction you head from your home island, yeah, walking on water, what can I say? It's top barrage, huh? You know, he did get that game released. I mean, that's a major accomplishment. So when you walk in any direction, the first island you get to is kind of the big island. And you start to fill out your character's map. Okay? And it's a map of how the islands in the universe link together, which happens to be different for every character. And this is actually a very large island. It's huge. So the islands come in different shapes and sizes. If we were to go back to our home island, which is in the opposite direction that we came, here's our puddle again. We go south from our home island and try to get to the big island from a different direction. It doesn't work. So if we go south, you would expect that we go south 1 unit. From his island, we found a desert island with a puddle in it. It probably needs a palm tree or something. And then we go west 1. We would expect that from there, ooh, an Arctic biome. From there, if we go north, we're going to get to the big island, right? That's not true. This is not the big island. And then if we go east to go back home, that's home isn't over here. So you have to remember where you've been in the world in order to get back where you were. So the path that you took to get there must be retraced to get the return. Which has a nice kind of way of making the world really, really big. Also, the way that the islands link are different for every player. So if you want to go and play together with somebody, you form a group of players, and then depending on your team lead, you'll use that player's graphs. So different people might have access to different resources in different ways. I want to encourage trading in here, so depending on your character and his set of islands, its set of islands, you might find that you have a really great trading routes and can earn gold in the game for buying things and building things and whatnot. So that's kind of what's going on at the moment. If we go to the browser, you can kind of see the management pages. Go back home. This had been kind of fully built out, but right now we're just putting stuff back in. Oh, and look, we got the image working again. So yeah, that's what the sea texture looks like currently. Oh, and Jeremy, thank you for the follow. So this is kind of the management pages. It used to have quite a bit more stuff in it. Seas, biomes, lands, association of lands to biomes and world entities. And that's currently what we're going through and putting back in. I'm switching from Actix Web to Warp. And if you're not familiar with Rust, Rust has a great ecosystem currently. So I had been using Actix Web, which is like incredibly fast. I found it a little difficult to work with at times. So we're actually switching to using Warp. Almost Warp. Which is kind of made by the Tokyo guys. Tokyo crew. Okay. A Sean Monster. We're using this now. And it's going pretty well. I'm also switching from the Ascoma templates, which compile to Rust code, which means that you have to be careful of borrow checker and all that, even in your templates. Switching from that to, it's called Terra, which allows me to do things like change a template at runtime and see it actually change. It was really nice. I missed that before. The old loop that I had would have to compile the entire thing and then I could check it, etc. I didn't want that. So I'm sacrificing a little bit of performance for quite a bit of flexibility with not having to recompile things all the time. And that's kind of where I am currently. So after we get the management portal put back together, at that point, I'll start working on elements that can start to populate the world. Trees, basically things that you can harvest resources from, and then start to work on building. After that, we're going to start to work on... Interesting, why did that do that? Oh, it was a favorite icon, that's fine. After getting the world entities in there, I'll start to work on the mobs and kind of dynamic quests from there. So where were we? We were working on the seas. Now one thing that I noticed just there was that here, if I go into the seas, that's fine. But if I try to come back out, like clicking on this home element, it doesn't work right. Oh no, I guess it went there. That one did, but if I go into a default sea and then click, you can see in the very bottom, copy link location. Actually got sea and home, so that template's wrong. Let's go fix that. Oh, we want base. I'd expect that to work. Maybe URL 4 for home is not quite right. So this is a global function that I created in order to be able to get named paths. I basically just manage paths in one place. Go for home. Actually up here. See if we can do that. An absolute path. I wonder how that would work. I'm not convinced that's the location of this. Because in C, template. It does use the base stuff. Okay, let's try it. Oh, I'm sorry, it's in the browser. Let's reload. Did I write the Godot bindings? I actually didn't write the Godot bindings. I'm not using Rust in Godot yet, although I do plan on using it for the island generation algorithms. The server and the client will actually share those. And I'll just have to pass the seed back and forth in order to create it on the client. Now, there is a fantastic project, GD native stuff. And this group here has built a bridge in their 0.8.0 version. I'll toss this in the chat there. But inside of here, they have created all the bindings that you need for this. I've played with it. I've tried it with Godot 3.1.2. Worked really well. So I'm pretty confident that this is fairly stable. Refresh this. It's funny, it's still, that C home thing is still wrong. Interesting. Go back to the code. Oh, bringing crystal to Godot. Oh, that's cool. Binding crystal. That'd be neat. You use crystal much? I've never used it, but I've kind of looked at it from the sidelines. Would have expected that. Oh. Cargo build and dev run. Didn't pick up the changes. Full crystal 2 years ago. Oh, wow. What were you using before crystal? Was it a good transition? Yeah, let's reload that again. Okay, so yeah, we do get slash there. Oh, Ruby on Rails. Nice. You're talking about Crystal Lang, right? Ah, working on the Crystal web framework. Nice. That's cool. Okay, so that works, Good. I played around with diesel and some other elements. Let's update that, 2020. Diesel's a pretty nice ORM, but I'm actually thinking of moving away from it. I really just want better async support. Okay, so we have that. Let's go back into C. This one. Got some code that's been commented out for the sake of getting it to compile. Let's make editing work. Edit. Okay, there's edit. If we went to the browser right now and clicked on one of these items and changed it, deep, and clicked on save down below, it doesn't do anything. It just refresh that, or resend it, network stuff. We're sending a post. So params, oh, there they are. Yeah, we're gonna dive into the multi-part stuff next time. I'm actually gonna have to get going here in a couple moments, but I think that's going to be what we dive into next time, getting this to work. Made quite a bit of good progress, I think. What we're going to have to do is get edit here working. What would that be? That would be an update call in terms of our CRUD stuff. And we would probably get to update wired up. Here. Let's get that. Let's say we had a post. Now this is also going to want an ID / UUID, so we know which one we're updating. Yeah, I know that's wrong. Oh, you're getting a weird Saturday error after using it. What's the error? Yeah, feel free to drop it in chat, or if it's too big, maybe a screenshot. It goes here. Actually, this is done. Good with that. Something deserialize owned. Deserialize owned. Is it due to the Oh, I see. Yeah, you'll just need to add that trait to your data structure that you're trying to serialize and deserialize. So in my case, let's see, it's a good one. I don't like those. This one, for example. Am I using the wrong error? Deserialize owned, I don't think is an error. Inside of Saturday, let's see, where do I have of these? Let's look for... trying to find one of my Saturday errors. You do have deserialized. Interesting. What does your line, excuse me, in here look like? Because you're going to have, for those that haven't been following along very long, so 715209 is trying to use this error. This error is a fantastic crate. I highly recommend using it. 715209, can you copy the equivalent of this line here, line 9, into the chat? Or better, we could take this into Discord. But we're actually going to do some rating. 715209, why don't we follow up on this in Discord, and I'll start my raid. And anybody else that wants to follow along in Discord is free to join us. Cool. Alright, we're gonna raid Lana. I never ever raid Lana. Everybody knows Lana. I don't have to explain Lana. But yeah, if it's not your thing, feel free not to join the raid. Okay. But I hope to see you all again, and till next time.